Bet.
Why won't you pay back to people from CryptoZoo?
I'm working on it, Dylan.
So yeah, he's working on getting back the money to the fancy scam, but meanwhile buying Nina a $1.9 million engagement ring. So much about that. This fight seems to be extremely personal to Logan after Donis made Nina's body count public.
You told me I couldn't say anything because Eddie was being investigated by the FBI and that was confidential information. It's all over the internet. I've been let on for a year, bro. I've also asked you to audit the contract for the game and see where the money went so many times, and that never happened either. What did you do?
Tried to help to get the project done. That's all I did.
I think there's a piece of information being left out.
Okay. Well, there's no information that I'm not telling you.
Just a year back, Prime was everywhere. Kids were throwing hands over bottles like it was the last drop on Earth. Influencers were out here swearing it didn't taste like straight-up battery acid, and YouTubers were flashing it on camera like they'd found liquid gold. But now, the hype's straight up dead. Logan Paul couldn't even pay folks to fake the hype anymore, and KSI's still out here acting like metaverse hydration was ever a real business plan. The fall of Prime hit hard. That neon-colored sugar water finally got what was coming. This isn't just a small dip either. We're talking a brutal 70% revenue crash and nearly $70 million worth of lawsuits dragging behind it. The world's hottest drink turned into the fastest brand to completely crash and burn.
You told me I couldn't say anything because Eddie was being investigated by the FBI and that was confidential information. It's all over the internet. I've been let on for a year, bro. I've also asked you to audit the contract for the game and see where the money went so many times, and that never happened either. Do you see how this looks?
I see how it looks.
What did you do?
Tried to help to get the project done. That's all I did.
I think there's a piece of information being left out.
Okay. Well, there's no information that I'm not telling you.
And honestly, who's really surprised? It tasted like someone bottled cheap perfume. That ingredient list looked like a chemistry project gone rogue, straight up Breaking Bad vibes. Now those bottles are collecting dust on clearance shelves next to old Christmas candy because no one's paying top dollar for that gamer juice anymore.
How much did you guys make from CryptoZoo?
I lost around $50,000 in CryptoZoo.
I lost $40,000.
I lost around 15,000 US dollars.
I lost $25,000.
$120,000.
$500,000 Australian, which is $500,000 in CryptoZoo.
Back in 2022, KSI and Logan Paul dropped Prime like it was the YouTube version of Gatorade. Flashy colors, Fortnite-style bottles, and marketing so loud it practically screamed at you. Everyone thought sipping one would boost their clout score instantly, and for a hot second, it worked. Stores sold out, prices went crazy online, and everyone thought Prime was about to become the next billion-dollar empire.
Let's start with how Logan Paul revealed the CoffeeZilla was a whistleblower who drew in the attention of the federal government to investigate the CryptoZoo team. This, Paul says, was by all appearances a deliberate attempt to advance a false narrative to the federal government. Okay, right off the bat, deliberate false accusations to the government come with very serious penalties, so that is a very heavy accusation made by Paul here. But anyway, he continues. The reason that Findeisen misled the government so brazenly, of course, was that his goal was to prompt the government to investigate and build cases against plaintiffs specifically, whom he had never even spoken to about the project, in order to further harm plaintiff and, he hoped, ultimately claim credit and raise his own profile in the event the investigations resulted in criminal charges or civil penalties against him.
Deep down, everybody knew it didn't even taste good. Prime was built on hype, not hydration. It wasn't about water, it was about validation in a bottle. They played the game smart though, dropping limited edition flavors to trick people into thinking everyone wanted one. That wasn't real popularity. That was pure marketing magic. Fake scarcity, tiny restocks, just enough chaos to blow up TikTok and make it seem like Prime was the rarest drink alive. Same playbook as those McDonald's sauce drops or Supreme bricks. Fake rarity equals real profit. Then came the big money collabs, Arsenal, UFC, and a bunch of others. Suddenly, this neon sports drink was getting treated like luxury merch. Bottles were flipping for $20, $40, even $50. And kids were actually paying that just to flex online like it was a designer accessory. But the second they cracked it open and took a sip, the look on their faces said it all. Wait, this is what I just spent $50 on? That's when the real storm hit. A U.S. senator stepped in, asking what was actually inside those flashy cans. Each can of Prime Energy was loaded with 250 milligrams of caffeine. That's basically 3 Red Bulls packed into one can. Sure, that might slide for adults, but let's be real, Prime wasn't made for adults. The cartoon-style bottles, wild names like Ice Pop and Meta Moon all screamed for kids. It looked more like a Fortnite drop than a fitness drink. And of course, middle schoolers, even younger kids, started downing multiple cans like it was soda. The result? Heart palpitations, anxiety spikes, even caffeine overdoses. Suddenly, it wasn't just influencer drama anymore. It turned into a full-blown public health problem. Prime went from being the internet's coolest drink to getting straight up called out by Congress. When a trend hits that level of chaos, you just know Gordon Ramsay had to jump in. His reaction? Absolutely legendary. He took one look at the $20 price tag and snapped, "What is that perfume?" And honestly, he wasn't wrong. It tasted more like something from Sephora's tester shelf than an actual sports drink.
Paul claims that CoffeeZilla didn't give the government any information about any other bad actors on the CryptoZoo team, like Eddie Ibanez and Jake Greenbaum. And he says that because of that, CoffeeZilla was sending the government down this rabbit hole to focus specifically on Logan Paul and to ignore everyone else on the CryptoZoo team. Setting aside the fact that CoffeeZilla showed in response that he did, in fact, provide a bunch of information to the FBI about the entire CryptoZoo team and that this included information about Jake Greenbaum and Eddie Ibanez, Logan Paul doesn't really talk about this in any of his filings, other than to say that the SEC closed out its investigation, which he argues means they found no wrongdoing, and he says that all other federal investigation is basically dormant and has gone nowhere, which he says means basically the same thing, no wrongdoing.
But the madness didn't stop there, it was just getting started. That same senator officially called on the FDA to investigate Prime. Picture that. An internet-born drink getting federal attention like it's some national issue. The problem? Sky-high caffeine levels mixed with aggressive kid-targeted marketing. That combo was bound to blow up eventually. Then came the lawsuits, and they did not come slow. Prime got slammed with a $13 million lawsuit from its coconut water supplier, Gravano, who claimed Prime ordered massive ingredient shipments and never paid up. Prime fired back, denying everything and blaming the supplier for poor quality ingredients, even filing a counterclaim. But still, back-to-back lawsuits, not a great look for a brand that bragged about being transparent. And just when it couldn't get worse, boom, another hit.
On February 13th, 2023, he says the SEC reached out to him asking if he would speak with them on a voluntary basis in connection with the investigation. Then, the next day, a bunch of stuff happens. For one thing, the SEC issued a formal request for documents regarding CryptoZoo and Dink Doink. And in response, CoffeeZilla submits supplemental information to the SEC and FBI to include a more thorough analysis. And on the same day, Logan Paul receives a subpoena to testify regarding CryptoZoo before a grand jury. And not only that, but the Central District of California issued an amended search warrant for all of Paul's electronic devices for evidence of securities fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy related to CryptoZoo.
A full-on class action investigation got launched over accusations that Prime's grape hydration drink might contain toxic PFAS chemicals. Yeah, the same forever chemicals used in non-stick pans and firefighting foam. Imagine sipping that in your so-called hydration drink. By this point, Prime's legal drama looked like a courtroom marathon. Supplier beef, chemical accusations, false advertising claims, the whole circus. Altogether, the mess stacked up to nearly $100 million in lawsuits. The numbers were brutal, and the brand's once clean image was officially cracked wide open. By 2024, Prime's empire was falling apart fast. In the UK, revenue tanked a brutal 70%, dropping from £112 million down to just £32 million. Their profits practically vanished, a 92% crash that left them counting pocket change. Even in the US, sales took a nosedive, slipping nearly 40% as people finally moved on to the next big thing. Between the caffeine controversy, chemical investigations, non-stop lawsuits, and a mountain of bad press, Prime's hydration empire started sinking like a rock. The internet's coolest drink was suddenly one court date away from total collapse. And while that chaos unfolded, Logan Paul's career went from influencer fame to straight-up FBI suspect vibes. All roads led back to one word: Crypto Zoo. That's where the real disaster exploded. CoffeeZilla dropped a brutal 3-part expose that didn't feel like a YouTube video. It felt like a full-on public takedown. He came loaded with receipts, victim interviews, leaked emails, shady messages, the works. He threw Logan's entire Crypto Zoo circus under the bus and flat out called it a scam in front of millions. We're talking real money too. $120,000 here, 500,000 Australian dollars there, $500,000 gone in the blink of an eye through the Crypto Zoo mess. CoffeeZilla went full whistleblower mode, handing over everything to the FBI and SEC. This wasn't some influencer drama anymore. These were real federal investigations. And the accusations? Massive. Logan wasn't painted as some confused middleman? No. According to the evidence, he was allegedly right in the center of it all. Not clueless, but positioned as a key player in how the entire Crypto Zoo scam was set up. The internet was in shock. And this time, he couldn't just vlog his way out of it. Logan's legal team wants everyone to believe the feds just strolled in, looked around for 5 minutes, and walked out like nothing serious was going on. He keeps insisting that the SEC going quiet means he's innocent and the FBI staying silent means everything's totally fine. But come on, flexing no updates from federal investigations hits different when you've allegedly been subpoenaed, had your electronics seized, and your emails pulled like it's straight out of a true crime documentary. And here's the wild part. He got his fans to actually buy NFT eggs. Not a metaphor, not a parody. Real cartoon zoo eggs. The whole project, called Crypto Zoo, was pitched as Logan's big Web3 masterpiece. The brilliant idea? You'd buy an egg, hatch it into an animal, and then breed them for crypto rewards. It sounded like Pokemon Go mixed with a financial nightmare, because apparently what the internet really needed was digital pet trading with trauma. Now the feds are circling like sharks that smell blood in the water. Both the FBI and SEC have launched full-blown investigations into whether Logan and his crew allegedly ran a rigged Crypto Zoo operation. They're digging deep into claims that wallets tied to Logan bought up zoo tokens early, hyped them publicly, then cashed out once the prices shot up. That's textbook insider trading if true, and it stacks up with alleged market manipulation too. At this point, this isn't apology video territory anymore. This is courtroom territory. Subpoenas, evidence, the whole legal storm. On February 13th, 2023, the SEC reached out to CoffeeZilla, not Logan, for voluntary discussions. And the very next day, Logan's team got slammed with a wave of federal action, formal document requests, a grand jury subpoena, and even an amended search warrant in California, all tied to alleged securities fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. On March 7th, the SEC came back swinging for round 2. They subpoenaed Logan again, this time digging even deeper into the Crypto Zoo chaos and a few other sketchy crypto side projects, including that bizarre one called Dink Doink, the token almost no one believed in from the start. Then, on June 10th, 2024, it became official. Logan Paul was deposed. Not a rumor, not speculation. It actually happened. By March 2025, the SEC started sending out closing letters, but don't get it twisted. That didn't mean everyone was cleared. The only reason things slowed down was because crypto cases started dragging under the new administration, and CoffeeZilla, he backed that up with receipts and real reporting to prove it. But here's the real twist. The FBI wasn't finished. According to CoffeeZilla, federal agents were still digging into Logan's mess deep into 2025, which means this story, nowhere near over. And let's be real, if the feds are still hanging around, it's definitely not because they're fans of his content. Meanwhile, the Crypto Zoo game turned out to be straight vaporware. The eggs? Nothing but digital air. People dropped serious cash expecting returns, and instead, they got burned hard. This wasn't your usual startups are tough story. This was money gone, debts disappearing, team members fighting in Discord chats, and half the project just vanishing overnight. Logan went into full-blown damage control mode, pointing fingers at everyone but himself, while acting like nobody remembered how hard he hyped it up like the next Dogecoin. But the truth was staring everyone in the face. This didn't look like normal crypto market swings. It looked like an allegedly staged rug pull, fueled by influencer hype and borrowed trust from fans who believed every word. Backed into a corner by hard receipts and public pressure, Logan flipped straight into defense mode. He started threatening lawsuits, crying defamation, and pulling the classic victim act on videos and podcasts. Then just like that, he quietly deleted everything and vanished. He tried to play the tough guy, talking big through legal threats, but when nobody flinched, he slid right back into silence. Then came the rebrand. Suddenly, Logan claimed he was the real victim, blaming the shady developers who supposedly disappeared and left him holding the bag. He swore he didn't make a dime, that he actually lost money. It was the go-to move when the heat gets real. Flip the story, shift the blame, and pray the internet forgets. By June 2024, Logan finally made his next big move. He sued, but not over the original CryptoZoo mess. Nope. He went after CoffeeZilla's follow-up videos instead, dragging the drama straight into court and keeping the chaos alive for everyone to see. He claimed CoffeeZilla wasn't just sharing opinions, but spreading defamatory statements that wrecked his image and hurt his bank account. Shockingly, a Texas judge let the case move past round one, and just like that, the legal circus officially began. The internet collectively rolled its eyes as CoffeeZilla clapped back, calling it a desperate stunt to silence critics instead of facing the truth. Then came the bombshell filings, and they were not kind to Logan. Leaked messages allegedly revealed that the lawsuit wasn't about clearing his name at all, but about harassing the guy who exposed CryptoZoo and using the courts as a pressure weapon. The whole thing started looking less like a defense and more like damage control gone nuclear. In court, things got messy fast. Logan doubled down, claiming CoffeeZilla wasn't just tossing opinions around, he was spreading defamatory facts that wrecked Logan's image and hurt his wallet. A Texas judge actually let the case move past round one, and boom! The legal circus officially kicked off. The internet collectively rolled its eyes while CoffeeZilla fired back, calling it a desperate stunt to silence anyone who dared criticize him. Then came the next wave of filings, and they were brutal. Alleged messages showed the lawsuit wasn't about clearing his name at all, but about pressuring and harassing the very guy who exposed the CryptoZoo chaos. It started looking less like a fight for justice and more like a full-blown power play using the courts as a weapon. Logan's legal team scrambled to seal certain documents, saying they were irrelevant and would only embarrass him. But let's be real, that's usually code for this looks bad. They pushed hard for protective orders to keep whistleblower reports, chat logs, and internal notes under wraps. But while they were trying to hide the dirt, subpoenas and search warrants were already proving the feds were digging deep. And that's where the move totally backfired. Instead of burying the drama, it made everything blow up even louder. The whole thing turned into viral courtroom chaos. Headlines, reaction videos, leaks, the works. What was supposed to be a quiet cleanup became the internet's favorite legal soap opera. And that brings the whole saga full circle. Prime went from grocery store riots to dusty clearance shelves, lawsuits, FDA heat, and total hype collapse. Proof that you can sell anything with enough noise, but you can't save something that was never good to begin with.